Hello viewers, Super GT here. A couple of quick fire races for you in Gran Turismo Sport. So we've got the Autodromo Maggiore, one of the shorter configurations in the Gr.4 Scirocco. Here it is. And yes, I'm going to flash the hell out of you already. So yeah, get smashing that dislike button if you're against the flashing tactic. But you know, that's just a joke. It's just a joke. As we pull away from the line, a fairly slow start here from the Frenchman up ahead, having trouble with the traction as we head into turn 1. Awkward scenes here, as the turn 1 and 2 can get fairly awkward. It can bunch up a lot. Let's just have to avoid the German in the orange machine. So not a good start. Started 8th. Qualifying lap was okay, but you know, it's such a short circuit here that the lap time you're looking at about 47 seconds or something. So qualifying can get very, very close, and a 10th matters quite massively as someone goes flying on into the wall. The Irishman there in the green car. Actually, it works out for him. That might be a valuable technique to take on from here to the end of the race. Just wall ride into that final corner, bounce off the wall and come back with a massive slingshot down the main straight. Here we go then, 10th place. The Frenchman out of nowhere fires the fin straight into the wall. Brutal assault. And I've just pushed on the German there into the Irishman. Now up the inside, up to 7th. Chaotic scenes here in Italy as 11 angry guys battle it out in the VW Scirocco. So the race now beginning, I'm hoping at least, to calm down. Let's see how it goes into the final corner. We'll get on the brakes a little too late, as we get a poor run then on the exit. You can see just how intense the battle is up ahead. So we've got about 4 or 5 cars nose to tail, some of them with penalties. We can see the red flashing text. This guy's just gonna, oh, where is it? Okay, I thought for a second there I was going to smash into the back of him as he was serving his penalty on the racing line, and did briefly come out of that ghosting, but I just about get through him. Up into 6th place, so we're making steady progress. 3rd and 4th of penalties, a yellow flag. I think there's the Frenchman who murdered the Finn on the previous lap. He's serving his 10 years penalty, or sentence if you like. So 3rd and 4th of penalties. That could bode well. That could bode well. We just got to keep close to those guys. We might get past them at the end of the race if they have to slow down for the penalties. And then coming into turn 1, across the line, beginning lap number 4 now. So the race has definitely calmed down now. It's absolutely obliterating that curb. You do have to kind of obliterate the curbs first and second corner here, and that's quite simply the best way to get the fastest lap. You have to really abuse the curve as much as possible. On to back straight here, a winding chicane, easily flat out. Don't really have to find that one much of a challenge. As we look back briefly, always good to keep tabs on the guys behind. So we've got an Irishman who hasn't quite been able to keep pace, as now the battle ahead kind of has bunched up. And it looked like on lap 3 that they would spread out a little bit, but on lap 4, I guess the Spaniard in 3rd place has made a bit of a mistake as he slows down here into turn 1, lets the Frenchman through into 3rd. So the Spaniard's slow here. Let's go around his outside, he goes very wide. So I'm going to have to settle for 6th place. We've got Spaniards 1st and 2nd, they're doing very well. I've actually just pushed this guy wide as I get a big moment onto the back straight. Now this was a kind of awkward moment because briefly through turn 2 it looked like I was ghosting with him. Sometimes people get ghosted when they've got a penalty and can go through them, and I like to try to make the most of that by not having to overtake them properly, just go through them. But then sometimes they come out of that ghosting and then you hit them. So in this instance here I lost a bit of time with hitting the back of the Spaniard. Race is still on though, don't have a penalty, and he's going to serve his penalty here, and then I'm going to smash him into the wall. So he kind of slowed down to serve the penalty, then sped up again as he went into the braking zone, and he came out of the ghost, and well, I've just sent him to Narnia, and well, he's gone. I've gone past the Frenchman as well. It really is chopping and changing here. Quite how he's going to end up, I don't know. as I've gone up and down positions very, very quickly indeed. Into the final corner, we've got two guys queuing up to go past, the Frenchman and now the Irishman in 6th place. As ideally, I want the two guys behind to start fighting so I can just get, you know, a little bit of a gap. You just want that little bit of a gap just for safety reasons, essentially. Have a bit of breathing space so the guy behind probably won't lunge the hell out of you and send you to the shadow realm. Okay, through turn 1 and into turn 2. You have to kind of turn in a lot earlier than you think to this one. It is quite an exceeding corner. And the thing I've noticed about the throttle in this car, if you nail the throttle, it will just go straight. The car will just go straight on as I get a bit of a moment again onto the back straight. So you do have to be very, very modulated on that, on your right finger or your right foot if you're using a wheel. I suppose it depends which one you're using. If you mash it down, the car will just go straight. This guy comes out of nowhere. I didn't really see that move coming, to be honest, and it didn't really seem to affect my car. Again, possible weird ghosting moment. I don't know what's going on. But he went for it. It didn't come off for him. I remain in 4th with now 3 laps to go. Behind my fellow Brits, got 2 Spaniards 1st and 2nd. They've done well. They've pulled away together and they can fight up front. A little chance of that. 3rd place is on though. We can still get 3rd. As lap 7 didn't go too well for me. I think I actually lost ground to this guy, but now I think I'm definitely gaining ground with the blue sector. Into the final corner, I'm going to look to go to the inside, but then we both resume the normal racing line into the final corner. I didn't really fancy a dive from that far back, as if you get it wrong you lose a lot of time. So I'm going to play the slightly longer game here, as we do have space behind, nearly 2 seconds to the Frenchman in 5th. I'm going to look for the move. It can be awkward trying to go up the inside here because you have the outside for turn 2. But actually, I'm going to slingshot through up into 3rd place. So I'm surprised there actually, because I thought he was going to fight that one a little bit more and keep the inside line for turn 2, which I think is crucial. When I'm defending that first corner, I actually defend on the right hand side, which is weird because it's a left-hander, but only because I want the inside for turn 2, which is a long hairpin. But into the final corner, and go semi-defensive, go back to the racing line. We've received contact into the wall. We're going to go very, very wide indeed. All over the grass has got all very awkward, as now the Frenchman has come to play once again. He has a penalty though, so this could get interesting on the final lap, as it is hotted up basically with 1 lap remaining. The Frenchman's taken over. Essentially all I've got to do here really is stick as close as I can to this guy. I don't necessarily have to force the move, as he does have that penalty. So I can just afford to have a good lap here, although through that sector he's done very well to open up that gap. Half a second now. So ideally I need to keep within a second. I'm assuming that he's got at least a second penalty. We don't know though, we don't know for sure. Into the final corner of the race. Am I going to get very close? I am indeed. Now at this point here, I'm not going to get caught out. I'm not going to follow him too closely because he might just suddenly brake and actually pulls it off to the one side and serves his penalty in a very neat and tidy fashion. As I cross the line to finish 3rd, 12 seconds off of the lead, but I think a decent result given that I started 8th and it went fairly topsy-turvy at points, and I did kill a Spaniard, so good times all round. It's weird because, you know, I do have lots of bad races with Spaniards, but I mean I don't really care. I mean I don't really judge them badly overall. I think you've got to give everyone a fair shot, at least give them a chance. And well, that Spaniard, he did kind of break on the racing line. I don't know what's going on. Weird shit basically. Anyway, race 2 once again on 8th place on the grid. We're going to go again. I want to go one better ideally. You can see how it goes here. So this is what I mean about the inside line. I'm going to get a little bit of a punt, but that's kind of going to help me into the inside line now for turn 2. Very long right-hander. So the inside line for that corner actually really helps. So I've gone from 8th up to 6th now, just by really going for the inside line on turn 2. I think that's clever racing that's kind of helped me there. So now up behind the fin, top 2 going to pull away immediately already. As I look for the inside line into the final corner, I've got a bit of an overlap. Look for the 100 board. And we're up the inside very nicely. It gives me space on the inside. It's good driving I think, a hint of contact on the exit. But overall, clean pass, and he kind of respected the space on the inside. He let me kind of go for it. So up into 5th. Initial lap, good start so far. Looking for the 100 board and then braking about halfway between the 100 and the 50, so 75. Russian goes for the move up the inside of the Spaniard, bit of contact to force the gap open. Spaniard fights back though on the outside. Another right-hander gives the advantage to the Russian. So coming down the hill, it's all going to kick off. They're turning across each other. It's all kicking off here, and the Russian eventually gets ahead. And I'm going to get a 3-second penalty for that. I'm going to get a 3-second penalty. I did briefly make contact with the Spaniard. Oh, sorry, with the Spaniard there. And somehow the game's deemed that I caused all of that. But anyway, up into 3rd. Interesting race here because I'm in 3rd. I have a penalty, 3 seconds, and that, I mean, that's quite a big penalty when you consider that everyone's going to be fairly close. So if a lot of people are finishing right behind me, I'm going to lose out to them. So here I really just need to get the gap open. I just need to get that gap over 3 seconds, and I'll be able to finish ahead of these guys. The dream scenario really is that everyone starts fighting and murdering each other, which, as evidenced by the previous lap, it could definitely happen. So into the final corner, the German ahead, looking like he's having a bad time. Actually, both having penalties, and he slows right down there. So the Belgian in the lead with a penalty, the German getting a penalty. I didn't quite catch what happened there. I'm not going to go defensive here. Actually, didn't need to. I was going to actually go a little bit deep. Still going to just about have the inside line. Is the Finn going to be able to sweep around the outside? Not quite, as I do still have the inside line for this downhill right-hander. It's going to be a drag race on the back straight. I did give him a car whiff there as he kind of turned across, but we are now resuming into single file. As he's looking for a way past, I'm going to go semi-defensive. Well, actually, no, not really defensive at all. Is he going to go for the move? I've kind of given him the space, and I'm just going to chop across on the apex and keep the position. I think the German there made a really bad decision. He got the penalty and then just immediately served it. But I think when you're in the lead and when you're in a good position at the front, it's better just to stay there and serve it at the end. That way you kind of keep the gap. You're in the clear air with the faster drivers. You can open up that gap and then just serve the time at the end. Whereas now he served his penalty, but he has to fight through 6 people to get back to where he was. So it's going to be really hard for him. You see just how close it is behind. They're queuing up to get past me. So I need to have a couple of good laps here. The slipstream does help in this game. It is very noticeable, so it can be tricky to pull away from a group if you're very evenly paced. And I think in this race people are very evenly paced, especially as we are all in the same car, of course. See just how close it is behind, and we've got half of the race left to go. That is the end of lap 5. 5 more to go. That's my fastest lap of the race so far, a mid 47. With the German actually setting the fastest lap so far, 47.1. Through the exit of turn 2, getting a nice line through there. We decided to change the livery to orange, as obviously different colours make you quicker, and I thought orange, I quite like the colour orange, so it might add about 100 horsepower to my car. Onto the back straight, through the chicane, flying through here nicely, gliding through there with no resistance. The Finn behind, looking ominous, he's going for the move. There he goes, up the inside, I've seen it coming. Go for that cut back and get the run back on him down the main straight. So good attempt. He's tried it. It didn't quite come off for him. It was a clean attempt, but I just had to go a little bit deep. That's the thing. If I'm braking exactly where I need to be, he needs to really nail it and get me in a kind of compromised position. I think the kind of position you need when you go up the inside, you need to get in a position where the person you've just overtaken can't cut you back, where you put them in a really tough decision. Where do they want to go around your outside, or do they want to cut you back? You need to kind of put your car right in the middle where they can't quite decide. So he's going to have another crack at it, I suppose, as we now come back into the best overtaking opportunity on the lap. He is very close, braking just after the 100 board. Is he going to go for it again? Yes, he is. There he is. And you can see just again, I can just see that he's going a little bit deep, so I can go for that cutback. And he just needs to brake a tiny bit earlier, literally 5 metres earlier. He's had the practice, he's had 2 attempts, and He's got very close. I think the second attempt was a little bit better. He goes for the move up the inside. The advantage of chase cam, I can just about see his nose poking into the screen. So I run a little bit deep on turn 1. I can see his nose poking into the screen, so I know where he is roughly, or exactly. I know exactly where he is, and I can kind of pre-plan my defensive mechanism as I go a little bit deeper on the brakes to kind of resist that overtaking move. Okay, then into the final turn, lap 8, only 2 more to go after this. Is he going to go for that move once again? I think he's a little bit further back. No, he is there. And you can see this time he's positioned his car a lot better, where I couldn't go for that cutback. All I could do was go around the outside, and that's the long way round. I'm not going to be able to make it work. So then he's going to go very defensive here. I'm going to go to the outside, which is where I want to be really. And on the brakes, a lot later, a lot braver, I'm going to get the run around the outside, and gives me the inside line for the next turn. So he made a really good pass there, but then really let it go very easily by letting me back past around the outside. It could have forced me a lot wider and a lot deeper on the brakes. It kind of left me maybe too much room, too much respect, too much caution. So I'm back into second with only a lap and a quarter left to go into the final turn. Big overtaking opportunity. I've gone a little bit deep. I've kind of anticipated that he might go for the move, and I've just kind of resisted it by braking a lot later, and it's really hard to outbrake someone who's braking way too late as it is. But he doesn't quite make the most of it on the exit. I'm going to go semi-defensive here. He's going to cut across, so I'm going to take the normal racing line, which is actually the line I want. He's not going to outbrake me this time, so I'm going to stick to the normal racing line and preserve second place. I still have that 3-second penalty though, so this is probably not going to go too well as we come out of the third corner down the hill. Actually, there's a bit of a gap there, and you don't actually lose 3 seconds in serving a penalty. If you brake just before the line, you might lose maybe 1.5 seconds. So I just need that Spaniard to absolutely obliterate his rear end into the final turn. Is it going to happen? We're about to find out as we get through the final turn. Okay, it was a good corner. Actually, if anything, they got closer. So I'm going to cross the line here. Going to have to serve the penalty and get rid of it. There he goes. The Finn goes up into second, and I finish in third. So not too bad a result. It was a really good race actually. I enjoyed the race. I think the racing was very good. So overall, 2 third places. Might have done better if I qualified a little bit higher up, but overall, some good racing here in the Sciroccos and Maggiore. I hope you enjoyed it as always, guys. If you do enjoy the videos, always hit that like button. It does always help. And obviously, if you're new to the channel, then why not subscribe for more of the same. I do thank you very much for watching as always. I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Listen.